Amyraldinism, the four point Calvinism, okay, and any hardened of it, e.g., example, hyper Calvinism. The notion of one Catholic and Reformed bracket bar Calvinist and a bracket bar Church, one main majestic theme of historic Christian orthodoxy bracket bar Augustinism / Calvinism end of bracket bar is thus integral to our understanding. This notion we affirm as true and foundational to any evangelical outlook worthy of the name under 2. Reformed Catholics affirm the importance of the Church and its history in any authentic vision of God's redemptive work in space and time. Evangelicalism today is infected with a deadly amnesia with regard to the historic bracket bars Calvinist end of bracket bar Church. ... We specifically reject the subjective and often disorderly spectacle of charismatic style worship with its attendant practices such as alleged tongues speaking, prophecies, slaying in the spirit, etc. Under 4. ... We bemoan the influence among evangelicals of a pietistic dispensationalism in which the world is considered irredeemably wicked and thus hardly worth the effort of influencing, and in which the only hope is supposed to be the imminent rapture of the saints. Those were the side notes. Okay, back to the story. Back to his writing. A challenge to remain silent. With the recent upsurge of Calvinism, a number of leading Calvinists have begun to take a far more aggressive stance in its public promotion. Both sides, in fact, are increasingly making this issue a matter of fellowship in the Lord, resulting in division in a number of otherwise sound churches. Period. In some churches, Calvinism is looked upon as a cult and members are forbidden to promote it even privately. I'm going to read this again. In some churches, Calvinism is looked upon as a cult and members are forbidden to promote it even privately. Period. In others, only Calvinists are accepted as members. Period. Of course, this has been true of pastors and mission candidates for centuries in nearly all Presbyterian churches and even in some Baptist churches. But now that position seems to be growing. Major evangelical seminaries, even those which generally hold to a dispensational theology, are indoctrinating thousands of future pastors and missionaries into Calvinism, millennialism, the replacement of Israel with the church, and other facets of so-called Reformed theology. Some Christian colleges are increasingly doing the same. Lately, a heretofore unsuspected range of confusion and division on this topic seems to be emerging. In his excellent book, The Other Side of Calvinism, Lawrence M. Vance claims that that there has of late been a resurgence of Calvinism in the Southern Baptist Convention. Almost daily I found this subject was claiming a wider interest and greater importance than I had ever imagined. It seemed obvious that there was great need for further research and writing to deal with this important issue. As it became known that I intended to write such a book, a number of pastors cautioned me to refrain from publicly expressing myself on this subject, because out of ignorance of its true teachings I had already misrepresented it. Period. A typical response from the Calvinist friends to whom I sent an early manuscript for comment went like this: "The caricatures you present and the straw man you construct demonstrate to me that you have absolutely no understanding of the Reformed position, and until you do, I would counsel that you refrain from putting anything in print." Letters began to pour into our ministry. The Berean call from around the world, many from pastors, insisting that I was unqualified to address Calvinism, and urging me to seal my lips and drop my pen regarding this topic. It was suggested that I would lose many friends and alienate myself from leading evangelicals, most of whom were said to be convinced Calvinists. Furthermore, who would publish such a book since the major publishers had brought out many books on the other side? What moved me most was the concern earnestly expressed by close friends that a book from me on this issue could cause division. The last thing I wanted. I wanted it. Period. We can just hear it now. Several friends told me, "Here comes Dave Hunt again. This time he's attacking Calvinists." That concern weighed heavily upon me. One must be willing to accept wise counsel, but the advice seemed to remain silent, though given by so many out of genuine concern, seemed after much prayer and soul searching on my part to be ill advised. Spurgeon called the debate over God's sovereignty and man's free will a controversy which I believe to have been really healthy and which has done us all a vast amount of good. End of quote. My heart's desire is that this book will be only to God's eternal glory and to the blessing of his people.